Welcome back to the Sara Kleiner Wellness YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a live stream I did with my good friend Dr. Sara Pugh yesterday. Now, she is staying with me right now. So this was just done downstairs here in my basement. And we decided to answer a lot of questions that we both get about reversing leptin resistance. So I wanted to share this here with my YouTube channel because we got a lot of great feedback over on Instagram and answered again a lot of questions that we commonly get about how long does it take to reverse leptin resistance? What sort of diet should you do if you're trying to reverse leptin resistance? All sorts of things like that. So, if you are interested, I am still going to keep my EQUINOX leptin challenge open through tonight. So you can still sign up for that. If you have the regular leptin program and you just need a push, you need some extra help, you can sign up for calls only. There's a link that'll be in the show notes and the pinned comment. And then if you don't have the program and want to just get the whole thing, you can sign up for that as well. So that is going to be when we say comment fall to get the links. I'm going to go ahead and put the links in the pinned comment. So you can check those out. I'll also put a link in for my $5 seasonal eating sourcing course. So if you're not quite ready to go full on into shifting and changing, this little $5 course is very helpful if you're looking to make some dietary changes this fall that are very supportive of the changing seasons. And that will work also if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. The course actually works wherever you are in the world. We've made changes so that it can. All right. I hope you enjoy this chat with Dr. Sara and I, and make sure you're subscribed to Quantum Conversations. We're going to have another really fun chat coming out this Friday on that channel with Sara, Carrie, and myself. All right. Enjoy the chat.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to jump on here with my really good friend, Dr. Sara Pugh, who's actually here in my house, but she's outside. And I'm here in the office. And we're going to talk about metabolic mistakes and the equinox, because here today in the northern hemisphere, it is the fall equinox. And then in the southern hemisphere, I know that we have some people in Australia and New Zealand, it's spring equinox, but it's a time of pretty much equal light, day and night, both hemispheres. So I think it's a really good time to set intentions, to shift, to really make some good changes in your life. But Dr. Sara and I, she's been staying here with me for the last 10 days, and she's going to leave in about a week. We're always talking about things we see with different clients, things she sees in her community that I see in my community, and just mistakes people make during different seasons that impact their metabolism. Because I think so many of us are just, bought into this idea that we're sold, that we're just supposed to live the same way, eat the same diet, live on the same schedule year round, right? And it's really not that way. So once you kind of really learn some very simple things about how to deal with your environment seasonally, with your diet seasonally, it really can support your metabolism in a healthy way, so that especially for those of us that are in the northern hemisphere, we don't necessarily have to go into this time period where we gain a lot of weight. Where is Dr. Sara? She's still not here yet. I'm waiting for her to... I'm getting requests to join the video, but none of them are from Dr. Sara. Lots of requests to join, but not from Dr. Sara. So we're just going to talk about that. So welcome to everybody. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Should be Sunday for everybody watching, unless you're in Australia, New Zealand, and it might actually be Monday morning when you're watching this. So whatever, I hope it's a good day for you. And if you're just jumping on, I'm waiting for my friend Dr. Sara to request to join. We're going to talk about metabolic mistakes. It's going to be a pretty quick live stream, and there she is, I see. So hopefully she'll request to join. And I'm also doing a challenge that starts tomorrow. There she is. If you want information on this challenge that I'm doing tomorrow,
that is an Equinox leptin reset. So it's a way to do it live with me, get support, all that good stuff. There you are.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
She's like literally, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I don't know if I need to put in my headphones.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's fine. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if we're echoing too much because you're just literally like a few steps away from me. So
Are you outside? No, you're inside, so we're miles away because I'm out here. So I think that there's enough. There shouldn't be any
okay,
echo.
okay, cool. Okay. I was just saying before we start, I'm going to start an Equinox challenge that's going to start tomorrow, a leptin reset Equinox challenge, and I still have spaces available for that. And if you want to get the link for that, just comment fall, or you can DM me the word fall below this live stream and I will send you the information. So I was just saying before all of that, you and I see a lot of the same kind of mistakes people make when they shift into new seasons. I think so many people think that we're supposed to just like eat the same diet and kind of live the same schedule year round, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because for this live, I was going to take some of it from the perspective of the client and say, when I do a leptin reset, do I do something different if it's winter, or do I do something different in the summer, and what would I do differently in the fall? And definitely there's different ways of eating for the season, and no season's easier than others, I think, for doing a leptin reset, that you just got to use different quantum tools and
Yeah.
eat different food, slightly different food.
Yeah. And it depends on like how far north you are as well. Like if you're like in Florida, for instance, you might not have to be as stringent as somebody who's like in Canada or in Michigan, you know, somewhere that's like super, super far north, as far as like cold adaptation and shifting your meals to be a little bit less carbohydrate rich, less of the simple sugar fruits, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And also because leptin is you can improve leptin sensitivity with the cold. Sometimes it's easier to do it when the seasons are colder. But then also another important aspect is we can act as a solar panel and use the energy from the sun to curb appetite. And of course, grounding is really important for gathering electrons and other things. So it does depend where you live, because Canada and the UK and other places like Michigan have a season, whereas Florida, even here in Atlanta, I wouldn't call what you have as winter, as in cold. So there's definitely a different approach to a leptin reset in different seasons. And I think the other thing about the leptin reset is why should people do it as a group? Because we were talking about this earlier, and how people buy courses and then never do them.
Yeah.
And there's
Guilty.
also, yeah, and then there's the other advantage of suddenly saying, right, tomorrow I'm going to start the Equinox challenge, and you haven't got time to make an excuse. You can just start, because you don't really need to do a massive change of sort of preparation, because a lot of the leptin reset is circadian based.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who are brand new, it's going to be different to somebody who's sort of played with the leptin reset and never got the results they wanted. And that's another example of when doing it in a group as a challenge is really helpful, because you can find out what you did wrong by being with Sara or listening to what other people say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that doing something with a group is a lot more motivating to actually follow through with it. Like I've probably bought 4 or 5 courses this year that I haven't done yet. I plan on doing them, but it's like if you're doing it with a group and then you know, okay, because our first Zoom call is this Wednesday. So if you do the Equinox challenge that starts tomorrow, and you can just comment the word fall, I'll send you the link under this video, or DM me that word fall. I'll have Zoom calls, and you might even be on that first one if you're here, if you're not busy.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be here, because actually, even if somebody's done a leptin reset in one climate, say they did it in summer and for some reason fell off the wagon or life happened, I actually find leptin resets are easier for me to do in winter in the UK, Whereas I've sort of done one in the summer, but not really. And I think I'd get a different result. It may be better, it may not be. I don't know. I'd have to try. And I think, you know, having a go at fall, that's the thing. It's neither one nor the other. So I think if people are thinking, well, it's not cold, it's not hot, what do I do? That's the perfect time to be with other people, because it's easier to guide people individually when we know where they're from.
Yeah.
Because, you know, with our clients, we've got people in Australia, New Zealand, and they're going into summer now. And then there's Europeans, and there's people in Florida, and there's people in places like Vermont or Maine, and it's a totally different climate. So sometimes, you know, knowing a little bit about the person and where they live, I think that's a massively important thing when doing the leptin reset.
I think so.
And just to be able to ask a question like straight away, rather than trying to find the answer yourself on the internet.
I agree. And, you know, the thing I love about the fall, and even this spring as well, and people who live in Arizona, absolutely. I've got a couple people in Arizona already signed up. This is a great time of year to really start circadian aligning, which is huge for your metabolism, period, because the day and the night cycle is more equal, right? Our nights haven't gotten super, super long yet. Like, the light is pretty manageable right now. It's past the summer where the sun for some people was coming up at like 5 in the morning, like super early. Like, the sun's coming up at a reasonable time, and the sun is still setting at a really reasonable time. So I feel like this is just a great time, because everything I teach is built around syncing your body with these light dark cycles, that it's a good time to just dive into this work and actually get support and get all your questions answers. Oh, thank you. Some really nice comments. It's any time of year is a good time to become leptin sensitive, any time of year. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also the other thing, as I was saying, I'll ask some things from the perspective of a client, because one of the things that people always ask is, how long will it take? So how long will it take for me to see results? And what would you say would be that answer?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, and I get a lot of women in perimenopause, menopause, and then their partners, a lot of the time, their husbands or partners will do it with them. Typically, people will start sleeping better in the first week. And I know that the perimenopause, menopause time period for a lot of people can be the sleep has started to become very disrupted. And so I'll typically have people have better sleep in the first week. And then after the sleep gets better, that's when we start to see appetite correction. People will drop inflammation pretty quickly. I just had a woman that commented yesterday, she was only on day, I don't want to misquote, I think she was on day 17, and she was already down like 14 pounds. And she wasn't even doing it as a challenge. She just bought the program and was just doing it. So everyone's results may be a little bit different depending on what other stressors you might have going on in your life and how well you're able to commit to it. But I always say people start sleeping better in the first week, which is a huge improvement.
Yeah, because the other one, I can pretend to be two different kinds of scenarios. So the first one, I would say, will it help me if I'm quite obese and I've been eating a lot of carbs and binge eating? I don't really exercise and I love watching Netflix. What kind of results would I get from the leptin reset coming from a high leptin? And I've had my leptin tested and it's 35. How can the program help me, and how difficult would it be for me to do the program?
That's my favorite type of person, honestly, because we usually see the fastest results. And I always tell them, I'm like, we don't need to make a huge drastic diet change. I just want you to eliminate a lot of the junk, but focus on your light. So if they want to watch Netflix, then we're going to get a pair of Spectra 479 blue blockers off Amazon. If you don't want to buy the really expensive ones, we're just going to change your evening routine. We're going to stop eating earlier. We're going to push your evening meal back a little bit and then put on some blue blockers. And you might actually feel tired when you're sitting there watching the Netflix. And we're going to try to get you to stop snacking between meals, but we don't even have to make super drastic meal changes. And there was a lady that did the reset that kind of came from this background. She's still in the private community, and she joins in on all the challenges, and she's still losing weight. but she dropped like 40 pounds, like bam.
Oh, I know who she is. Obviously, we won't say names. Yes, she's really dedicated.
Yeah, but she didn't go keto. She didn't go carnivore. She didn't even really go low carb. She just dropped out the junk. Like I have a diet section where I'm like, let's get rid of this stuff. And it's not the crazy restrictive, you know, I'm not going to send you straight to like keto or carnivore right away because I don't want to pull that lever first. I'd rather use the light because what people really don't realize and what gets people into trouble this time of year, if we want to talk about equinox and like when we lose a lot of sunlight, a big mistake people make is more blue light. And that is very dysregulating to your appetite. I think people don't even realize how dysregulating it is to your appetite and your hormones to be watching Netflix until late in the night. Like I said, just put on a pair of blue blockers if you still want to do it. Cover up with a blanket and don't snack and don't drink wine while you're doing it. But I'm not gonna take that away from you in the 21 days. We're just gonna change it, and people a lot of times are gonna see better sleep. The blue blocker glasses are in my product guide. If you go to my bio, I have a link for the Spectra 479s that you can also just type in Spectra 479 on Amazon. But I do have a link in my product guide. Someone was asking for them there in the comments.
Oh yeah, and also they are asking how do they join the group class for the leptin. I think it's if they
comment the word fall underneath this video and I'll send you the link that has the information. And if you've already bought the leptin reset and then you just like never did it, or you want to do it with a group, you can comment fall and you can purchase calls only, and that'll give you the group where you can ask questions. And then we have the Zoom calls every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a good way to get support. And then, yeah, people always have questions like, what do I do in the winter when there's less light and I have to get ready for work? I have to get my kids off to school and it's still dark outside. Like, how do I prioritize morning sunlight? What would you, I have some ideas, but what would you say to that, Dr. Sara?
I'd probably say it's back to that's when you need to know exactly where they live, because like here the sun is sort of more social here. It comes up at better times. Mm-hmm. I think that's where being part of a group's important, because you'd ask people about sort of blue blockers. Do they drive to work or not? Do they take a train? Do they have kids? Yes. Can the partner help just temporarily while they're doing the leptin reset? So I think that's kind of a tricky one, because you need to know a bit more detail, because I'm always like, I have to know everything about people before I'll answer, because there's no one size fits all. You have to sort of modify. Because then I was just going to ask another thing about pretending to be a client, back to different kinds of leptin problems. So I'll say, okay, I want to lose about 15 pounds. I really like CrossFit. I've been doing fasting and stuff for sort of 20 years. And I've skipped breakfast a lot, and I've done lots of different kind of bodybuilding diets. And I measured my leptin, and it was 2. How would a person with that leptin problem be treated? Because already, you're talking about what do I do in the morning, what do I do in the evening, but sometimes we've got different categories of people with a leptin problem, and that's where it starts. I think we need to know, are you a high or a low leptin person?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yes. And in the program, if anyone just bought the program and they just have that, I've just re-recorded the whole thing, because I created the program 2.5 years ago and I've just learned so much. So I literally just re-recorded the whole entire thing. And I have a special section called Northern Latitudes and Routines. That is like helps someone who lives really far north and has to figure out routines. And then I also have a section called Low Leptin, and then how to manage with low leptin, because that is going to be someone different than someone who wants to lose like 50 pounds and kind of is watching the Netflix and just kind of eating more of a standard American diet. The CrossFitter or the low carb carnivore keto person who's dealing with this excess weight that's more probably like inflammation. And I'm going to not diagnose anybody with anything, but a lot of times there's a cortisol dysregulation going on. And that cortisol dysregulation is leading to, I'm working harder and harder and harder, and my body is becoming more inflamed. And that's where we see the low leptin numbers, the ones, the twos. It's just your body is kind of, and I have a new module in the program that's called Leptin and the Nervous System, because there's a whole host of research that explains how leptin and the nervous system are intricately linked. And there's usually with a low leptin in this sort of a situation, there's some nervous system dysregulation going on as well. But the good news is, like, we're going to make some small tweaks. Like, if you're doing CrossFit at 5 o'clock in the morning fasted, I'm probably going to tell you that for the time that we're doing the reset, we're not going to do that. we're going to just try to rest a little bit more in the morning. And that might be hard for that person. They might need the support of the group to be reassured that they're not going to gain a bunch of weight from pulling back a little bit, and allowing us in the program to help you re-regulate your cortisol melatonin patterns, because that's what the program works on, is these master hormones. And that's going to be really crucial for that person who's just stuck with that bit of inflammation, and they've done the dieting and they've done the CrossFit and they've done the carnivore and the keto, and they just are like kind of in this, like, you know, amped up state, but their leptin is super low. We're going to do a lot of the same things that an elevated leptin person is going to do, but I'm really going to encourage this person to see the time that we're together in the program as a time to, like, chill. Your leptin signaling is broken. Either situation, whether you're high leptin or low leptin, the stored energy on your body and your brain is not having a conversation. And so that's the goal of the program, is to reestablish that conversation. And so for low leptin, we've got to get you pulled out of the, like, I got to fast more, cut away more foods. I've got to, like, do more CrossFit and exercise harder, and, like, get your body to feel a little bit more safe. And that was where I was actually when I created the program a few years ago. I was in this, like, I've been carnivore for 2 years. I've been fasting. I've been hitting 10, 20,000 steps a day. I'm doing high intensity interval training, and I'm stuck with this really, like, annoying extra weight. And I'm so mad because I'm trying so hard and I'm getting nowhere, but my leptin was low. And so that's kind of like where I was sitting when I developed the program. But then, of course, you know, it's just a matter of, like I said, the stored energy on your body and your brain are not talking. So we got to fix that.
Definitely, because I've started this project with Dr. Rick Malta, who knows a lot about HTMA tests. So I've been asking people, anybody who's high leptin or low leptin that's got a HTMA and a list of 9 other labs, to send them to us, because they'll get a free consultation, like half an hour consultation, because with the HTMA, which is the hair tissue mineral analysis, I'd probably say it's the best test for looking at hormone systems, because you can pull out 3 different sort of views of the nervous system and adrenals and stress levels and different grades of how stressed somebody is, whether they're stressed or exhausted or burnt out. And luckily, people have been really helpful and sent in data, and I've definitely seen with the low leptin people, the adrenals are terrible. It's obviously they're in a threat state. Mm-hmm. And then with people with a high leptin, I can see there's problems in the sort of thyroid side of the HTMA, and also the blood sugar, because even though HTMA looks at mineral ratios, it's actually really interesting because minerals and hormones are tied together. So it's another window to look at more about the person, because nobody's ever used HTMAs in a quantum way. Mm-mm. and there isn't a leptin section like that. We've got thyroid, we've got blood sugar, we've got adrenals, and we've got brain function within the HTMA, but there isn't leptin. So that's why we're looking at that. And 100%, before even the labs arrive, when I see certain HTMAs, I think, oh, this person's definitely going to have low leptin. Yeah. And then so I would say that, and then when you meet people and talk to them, they'll often tell me different things. So that's just like something else, because it reinforces what you were saying. It's not just about food, it's about your emotions, the nervous system, massively about light, massively about grounding, and also water is really important.
Yes.
And things like that.
Cellular hydration is huge. It's like how well is your mitochondria able to make water and then hold on to it as well? Because if your body's not holding a charge, that's a huge issue. We're getting some questions that I missed.
Yeah, Just say the range for leptin, I think, is about 7 to 10
for women.
But then something like 6.5 is okay, and then so is 13, because leptin's quite a big protein, so it's not super accurate. So
and men is lower. Men's more like 1 to 4.
Yeah, men's lower. But also, you know, say if you know you don't want to spend ages trying to get it to go from 12 to 10, because it's like there's an error anyway on the reading slightly. It's things like when it's 1s and 2s and 0.5s in women, and then things like I've put my high leptin as over 30, but then still 25 is going to be high as well. But say if somebody, you know, if it was 14, I wouldn't really think, oh, that's terrible, because we've seen leptins. I think there's somebody we know that's got a leptin of 90.
Yeah, we had a group member with 90 at one point. And it's also like symptom based, because you know, I have a group member right now who shared that she doesn't have any weight to lose, but her leptin was like a 30 something, but she has immune system dysregulation. She's sick all the time, thyroid issues. She has a lot of physical issues because leptin actually signals the thyroid, signals the glucose insulin axis. So that's why you become leptin resistant before you become insulin resistant. It's like this master signaling hormone. It's a circadian signaling hormone. And so it really affects so many downstream things. And she's like, so, you know, do I need to care about this number being a 30? And I'm like, because I'm not overweight. And I said, well, yes, because you're having all these autoimmune presentations, right? I don't like to say anyone has condition. I'm saying it's a presentation she's seeing in herself. Then working on it from this angle is going to be very supportive, you know, because the program is going to work on your mitochondrial health and work on the foundations. So even if you're not, like, I have a lady in the group who's like, my husband's going to do it with me, but he doesn't have any weight to lose. Is this going to be bad for him? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly, because it's not all about weight. I know plenty of people with amazing bodies who've got autoimmune situations, depression. They're trying to have a baby and they can't. Or people who have got, you know, a great figure going through the perimenopause or menopause, and it's monstrous. So, because that's the whole thing. It's sure, lots of people's goal is weight loss, which when we wrap up, which we will do soon, there's something I want to chip in about. But what people don't realize is it's like a governor of all of very important other aspects of your health. And also when HSCRP, which is a marker for inflammation, when that starts to go up, that can also trigger leptin resistance or leptin signaling problems. So some people have got a leptin problem, but then it doesn't manifest as being overweight, because this is why I wanted to look at HTMAs as well, because in the HTMA you can have fast and slow oxidizers, and it doesn't mean you've got a fast or a slow metabolism. This is obviously, we're not going to go into this rabbit hole, but there are plenty of people I know who are thin, who've got a lot of health issues, and then they've eventually got leptin tested, and we've seen really high leptin and really high CRP, and then sort of other things quite funky that they didn't realize.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of obesity here where we live, right? And so it's obvious, you can see it, but there are people who look okay, but they're really actually very unhealthy. And so this program can be helpful for them as well, because like I said, it's working on the foundations. And anyone who's just joining, I'm doing an EQUINOX challenge. It starts tomorrow. If you want the link, just comment fall below this video, or you can just DM me the word fall and I'll send you the link. Or you can bitten by bugs.
No, it's just they've just come over to kind of participate, but they'll go again in a moment. I don't mind them. Yeah.
Welcome to Georgia.
Oh no, I've seen really interesting things today. The praying mantis, I really got excited at that. And then anyway, we won't digress, because I think we need to wrap up soon, because this was like this was a surprise live.
Yeah.
We had like a spare half an hour, and it's like, what can we do that's productive in half an hour?
Yeah.
So we said we'll do an Instagram live, because the other big massive thing that happens with the leptin resets, and this has happened to me, you do all the leptin reset for ages, and then you very religiously do the sunrise, the grounding, and then you get your numbers back and lots of things have improved, but then the weight doesn't come off. And then this is like something that I've been working on, developing 6 short, I'm not as people know who follow me, I'm not really into weight loss or stuff like that, but just off the cuff, Sarah and I were talking about the cabbage soup diet just randomly, and so I decided to dive into it and see how unhealthy or how healthy is this, how quantum is this. So I'm doing it now, but I've changed it all so that it's quantum. But then I've got 5 other sort of similar kind of ways of eating that people call a fad, but if you actually pull it apart, that it's very effective. And what I've noticed in myself is that I can make it quantum. All of these things I've created, I've got a carnivore one, a keto one, a raw animal base, the mayo diet I've modified. You do actually eat 3 meals a day, and I think that's a sort of really important sort of thing after the leptin reset. Is some people get really impatient and they'll suddenly just start fasting again, and then they undo the sort of food side of the leptin reset. So with this thing that I'm working on, I was saying to my clients, I don't want you to do it yet. You have to reset your leptin, because when you people, sure that we could talk about calories in versus calories out all day, but there comes a point where you just have to eat less or less often or differently. And if your leptin's good, your body will just shed the weight and nothing happens to the rest of your hormones. Whereas most people who know, including me, from over exercising or dieting, as soon as you start to try and lose weight, the hormones all conspire against you. But then back to this thing of my experiment, sometimes when you have to follow a very specific sort of eating plan and everything's excluded except whole foods, you realize how many times you're snacking or overusing butter, because in the one I'm doing at the moment, it's very low fat, and you start to realize, oh, actually this is where I was going wrong. I've done all the leptin stuff and I was just eating, it was healthy, but then it was just slightly too much. Or you don't realize, like I said, about snacking, and then when you have to do something structured, it's quite an eye-opener. It can be really helpful. So that was just a little thing that once people have done the leptin reset, and if they have, say, a prom they want to go to, or on a date, or want to get going with a weight loss, I've got something that'll be out in a few weeks or so that people can try out for me, and it'll be something like $19, and it's just a bit of fun as well. Because that's the other thing that people always ask me all the time: how long will it take before I lose weight? Because some people lose weight on the leptin reset and other people don't. But then when I've looked through all their food diary, I can see straight away.
That's why we have like the group, because people will say, oh, I've been doing the leptin reset, but I'm not losing the weight. And I'm like, well, let me see your food diary. Like, take an honest food diary for me. And then we're like, okay, this is what, we always can help people pick it apart. And someone asked if there was a specific diet with the leptin reset. No, it's not a diet that really has a name. We have, you've got to prioritize protein, bioavailable protein, and then it's based on your goals. Like if you're elevated leptin versus low leptin, we're going to try to utilize as much seasonal produce as we can. There's certain things we're going to probably eliminate for a little bit of time, like nuts and seeds and the processed foods. But that's really like, initially, I'm just going to be like, get rid of the processed stuff and stick to whole foods. And I have a whole thing in the program called the Leptin Macro Guide that helps you build your plate. I don't like counting calories. I don't like counting macros and all that.
That's why I made my plans, because it doesn't involve, because I've worked with clients a lot, and the whole counting calories and weighing just drives people insane.
I can't,
And I just wanted to look for something that was quantum, that was healthy, that was safe, that works, just as an experiment on people. Well, not a nasty experiment, but, to solve a common problem that people have. I completely agree there. I think someone's just asking, do we need to cut out alcohol? Yes, definitely, because alcohol stalls fat burning, because your body wants to get rid of the alcohol before it does anything else. So it'll shuttle all of its resources and effort into getting rid of alcohol and oxidizing that instead of body fat. And also, I don't drink alcohol, but if I do, which is very occasionally, I want to eat everything. So I think wine in the evening, you think, oh, I don't care anymore, I'll have that cookie, or I'll have a slice of pizza, and I would never have done that if it wasn't for the alcohol.
Yeah, and I have a lot of people that will do the reset, right? They lose the weight, they feel better, they get their leptin where it needs to be. The goal is not to live like a nun for the rest of your life. The goal is to allow your body to be resilient. I personally haven't had a drink in 8 years because I don't do well with alcohol. It is not my friend. I learned that the hard way. But I have community members that have done the reset. They've been with me for a while and their body is like very resilient. So if they want to have a glass of wine on a Friday night, they're okay with it, right? But they don't drink every night in front of the TV watching Netflix because that is not going to work.
Because also alcohol steals electrons, and from a sort of biophysics level, the more electrons we've got charged with light, the happier our leptin signaling is going to be. So if we drink alcohol and it steals electrons, then now the leptin system senses you've got less energy.
Yeah.
And someone also pointed out, and we completely agree, it wrecks your microbiome.
Yeah. There's a lot of problems with it. And you know, the leptin receptor is in the brain, and anything that's going to cause brain inflammation is going to disrupt the signaling between the stored energy on your body and your brain. And so that's why the leptin reset is really a chance to bring down inflammation, especially in your brain, because a lot of people have brain inflammation because of the foods they're eating, because of their lifestyle, the blue light, the light and dark cycles being a complete mess. And they don't realize that their lifestyle and their food is actually causing this kind of low-lying brain inflammation and inflammation on the body as well. And so that's the goal, is to bring that down so that we can have that appropriate signaling again.
Someone's asking, will the reset help energy levels? Well, definitely, because the light side, when it's your body clock, it's like an airport. Everything has to run on time, efficiently, without mistakes, and that's the same as your biology. And sometimes if your body's got to constantly it would be like an inefficient airport. There'd be flights late all the time and people waiting. With us, it would manifest as extra work for your body to do. So it's got to use up energy to sort out your disorganized circadian rhythm. So even from just the fixing your light environment, for some people that restores their energy. And also if people are not sleeping properly because of a bad circadian rhythm, the leptin reset can fix that. But also leptin it's not just an appetite and weight hormone, it's also sort of an energy accountant. So it is in charge of shuttling out information. Have we got enough energy to make a baby? Have we got enough energy to run the immune system? And then of course grounding and water. And I'm not even going to go into Vogel crystals yet, but there's so many quantum things where you can get energy from the environment, because people think we just get energy from food. But there's every day, people say, oh, just light, water and magnetism, but there's also a whole load of other ways to gather charge. And it's all about getting as much energy from the environment.
Yes.
And obviously we need food. And that's why the leptin reset is not like a food diet. Of course, there's foods you've got to follow, but
there's a hefty set of information about food and different food guidelines and things like that. But the program is very rich in lifestyle and helping you to pull electrons into your body and fixing your environment. Those are the things that are slowing down your body at a cellular level and causing you to want to eat more, causing more appetite dysregulation. Someone wanted to know about can a dysregulated nervous system impede leptin reduction? Do we have to do that before the light work starts helping? No.
I do the opposite. You do the light first.
This is going to help with the nervous system. We were just talking about that on Quantum Conversations. Like, if you have a dysregulated nervous system, I would do this work first before you go invest in a nervous system program, because there's so much in here that is really going to be supportive of helping to support a healthy nervous system. Number one, re-regulating cortisol melatonin patterns. Number two, which is syncing your light dark cycles. Going outdoors, grounding, syncing with the Schumann resonance, like all of those things, and then giving your body the appropriate macronutrients and micronutrients. Those things are very supportive to the nervous system. And yes, nervous system dysregulation can absolutely impact your body's ability to lose weight or gain weight, but we're supporting that. And then I do have group members, like I think it's day 18. I have a section on the nervous system and leptin and how they're connected. But I do have some resources in there as well if people do want to go to some sort of a nervous system program. But I've found a lot of people they don't even necessarily have to. Or if they do, the program actually works rather than just buying another program and like, great, I did this other thing and it didn't help, you know? So this is not, doesn't go against other programs. It doesn't go against if you want to do a detox with your naturopath, if you want to do medications or other supplements. It's not going to contra those things. It will be supportive of giving you foundation. And then again, moving into a new season. So this winter, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're not dealing with the seasonal depression, the anxiety, the weight gain, all the stuff that when you're not circadian aligned, you deal with essentially, more so in the winter, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because also for some people, when they start the challenge or the Equinox challenge, it will have already turned pretty much into winter while as they come to the end of it. So they'll be able to go through the winter. Well, they'll be able to learn how do I change from fall to winter circadian mode.
Yeah.
And then if somebody's in Australia or New Zealand, they'll be going from spring into summer.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, it is different.
Yeah.
I've just seen a question. So are CRP and HSCRP accurate inflammation readings? I would say HSCRP is, but whenever I look at inflammation, I always ask people for other markers as well, like ferritin's a good marker for inflammation. Low active vitamin D is one. High uric acid's another inflammatory marker. I look at groups, but on the whole, if I had to just pick one for inflammation, I'd pick HSCRP. Because it is pretty useful. It's a really, you know, you want it sort of lower than one ideally, and I think regardless of leptin or weight loss or whatever, it's like a cancer risk as well if it starts to get really high.
Yeah.
We won't sort of like get distracted again. Because just before we wrap up, I was just thinking of some questions as me being the client. Can I do it if I'm a senior? What's the age, upper and lower age limit for the leptin reset?
Kids can do it. Teens can do it. You can do it no matter what your age is. It's foundational for everyone. So you can do it with your whole family. Yeah, I have people in their 70s, 80s doing the program. Like I have teens that they're, you know, the parents will do it. So it works for all ages and stages. There's no contraindication for anybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm just going to quickly see if there's any more questions because we were just doing a short and sweet. Otherwise, we'll be here for ages. So someone's saying, we'll work on getting leptin down before tackling big T.
I don't know what that is. Someone, just to go back to that, I had somebody in my group that as a family, I think it was a family of 5, I think collectively they lost about 200 pounds together as a family. They all did the leptin reset together.
Oh, wow.
I still have that testimonial. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. It was her husband, and her 2 kids, and they collectively had lost all that weight together, which is just so cool. So your whole family can do it. And it's great if you get your kids involved because I try to keep my kids involved in all this. And yeah, you can test, just comment the word fall or DM me the word fall and I'll send you the link. The challenge starts tomorrow. And if you want to test your leptin levels, you can ask your doctor, or you can usually go get it tested yourself here in the US. You can order your own labs. It's just a 12 to 14 hour fasted blood serum leptin test is what you would look for. You don't want to eat or drink anything beforehand. Get it around 8 a.m. in the morning or so if you can. But you don't necessarily have to test to know that you're leptin resistant. It's if you have weight to lose, typically you're leptin resistant. If you have blood sugar issues, if you have any of that stuff going on, there's typically a leptin issue. And no, there's nothing you need to do before tomorrow. You just come, sign up, and everything will be emailed to you. I would order a cheap pair of blue blockers. You don't really need to buy a bunch of stuff for the program, not a lot of supplements, gadgets, any of that stuff. It's literally just like get a cheap pair of blue blockers, especially if you're skeptical and you don't want to buy the nice ones. And yeah, that's it. If you already have the program, you can come do the calls only if you just want to get support. And I've actually just redone the whole program. So
yeah.
If you have the program and you don't even want to join us, I recommend logging into your client portal because the whole program is pretty much brand new at this point. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
surprise everyone who has it.
Yeah, and also it's different. What the difference is when you do it as a group, it's more strict because
Yeah.
I'm more strict than you about things, everything, because I have much more trouble losing weight, so I have to be really strict. So that's my biggest issue. So over the years, I discover new things, and then and some people, it's not working because it's just too sloppy because they've been doing it for ages and they just need it tidying up, and
Yeah.
other people have accidentally read the instructions wrong.
Yeah.
And some people bought the program, started and stopped at day 14. They haven't seen it all the way through. What else is the benefit of the program? No matter what, we just discover new things all the time, all the
Yeah, we do.
time. Like to do with like food or weight loss or crystals or energy or water or stuff we've done wrong or a new light, because I'm in love with the krypton from EMR Tech at the moment, because it's a vitamin D and it's UVA, UVB and red light, and I think that could be helpful for somebody in the UK doing a leptin reset in the winter, or somebody in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we're always playing around with new stuff, but you don't need anything to do the program. Like nothing. You don't need anything other than a cheap pair of blue blockers.
Yeah, exactly. And also sometimes we think something's really important, like dogma, and then we do something and not do it and think actually that didn't matter.
Right.
Or there'll be something that matters massively that we didn't think was that important. And also when you do it with other people, they discover things as well that worked.
Yeah.
Like one of my clients was telling me that she's got this sleeping routine using Dr. Carolyn Dean's foot rub into the soles of her foot and reishi mushroom. She's in Arizona actually, and she's being a guinea pig for me for or maybe she'll do all 6 of my weight loss little mini quantum programs. So but she's lost weight already, because I was really strict with her about food and snacking and dairy.
Yeah.
But then she's stalled again now. So that's why she was asking me, I need to kick up the bum again.
Yeah.
And she's
sometimes it just helps to be in a group, so it keeps you a little bit more accountable. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also she's really good with her circadian stuff, and sometimes she slips a bit with food, or just sometimes you think something's not important and it turns out actually it was that food. And then it just has to go, like the insidious thing you think, oh, that can't possibly be doing anything. And I think artificial sweetness was a massive one for me.
Oh yeah. Oh, me too. I'm so much better without those. I haven't had those in forever, and it's massively helpful to get rid of those, honestly.
Oh no, I still slip up with them now and again.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we're going to have to.
I bet James is probably awake. We should probably go.
Yeah, we need to get back up. So, the thing is, the person who wants our WhatsApp number, both of us or one of us?
I removed him from the chat.
Oh, did you?
He wanted to know if we were single. Yeah, no, not single. The Wednesday calls are recorded, so the group calls are all recorded. You get a chance to submit your questions in advance, and then I send out the recording to your email, and it has timestamps and all that stuff, so you can skip through, and I send out a transcript to all the calls as well. So if you can't come to the calls live, then you'll submit questions beforehand, and then I'll email you the recording. But yeah, somebody wanted your WhatsApp. I'm married, but
he might have wanted yours. And also the other thing, because I was telling people before, I'm doing this study with Dr. Rick Malter about leptin, HTMA tests, and then basic labs like metabolic panel, vitamin D, ferritin. So if somebody's all brand new to you, because and happens to have really high or really low leptin and a HTMA and some of the labs I want, there's a like a half an hour consultation on offer for people that give us the information. So
I'll put that information in the group too if people want to submit it to the study.
Because some people just happen to have that, and other people have got everything except the HTMA, or they've got everything except leptin. And we're collecting information because we want to find other ways, because HTMAs are really cheap, and I think it's really helpful that ultimately I want to be able to use a HTMA to read leptin and cortisol and stuff like that. But also it's just how to fix an horrible HTMA result using quantum techniques, because at the moment there's only food or supplements or just
supplements,
or just stop, don't stress so much. It's like, well, you know, that's like, you know, if I knew how to do that, I would be doing it. And so I'm looking how to improving quantum things like grounding, light, and also how much can depleting deuterium improve HTMAs, because they are pretty good for reading people's psychological and physical health. That's the thing I think is really interesting about them. They give you a window into the psychology of a person. And someone was mentioning earlier about big T, she meant trauma.
So,
and you can sometimes pull out a really there's certain ratios in a HTMA, and I'll be thinking, oh, that's a really distressed person. And Dr. Rick Malter's a psychologist, so he's massively into all of the, make sure you don't just, people don't think it's just minerals, it's, you know, it's their emotions as well. So but that was just to say, I think that Sarah's doing the Equinox challenge. You maybe want to just remind the new people who've just come what the link is. Oh, someone says, I can't find your code for the Harmony grounding shoes.
It's you. All my codes, I try to make it Sarah K now. So that's, I think Sarah K should work. And it should be in my product guide, but anything of mine, I try to have the code Sarah K. Not always, but I try. So yeah. And check out the video Dr. Sarah and I did on all the grounding shoes on my YouTube channel. Before you buy anything, check out that video.
That's why I was like, anyway.
Well, so some of theirs tested okay, but then the really, really expensive ones did not. But so anywho.
Also, they the Harmony grounded if I wore them, but not very well.
Really that's expensive hikers. They worked on you, but not me. Yeah. So
anyway.
All right. We got to go get the baby.
Yeah. And
everyone
also, yes. It's also, if people want to find out more about if they've just joined now or it's fall, and
just comment fall under the video and I'll send you the link to join us, or DM me the word fall if you can't comment. And have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye everyone.